Nuclear Regulatory Inspection Manual I0LB Inspection Procedure 86730 in Transportation Radioactive Materials Title 49 CFR Part 100 through 179 and Title 10 CFR Part 71. Program Applicability 2515 8673001 Inspection Objective Evaluate Reactor License Transportation Programs for Implementation Department of Transportation Nuclear Regulatory Transportation Regulation Preparation Shipment of the radioactive material Inspection Requirement Procedures be implemented independently assessed with the license conclusion regarding extent of the condition of the issue when selected with the part of the submit supplemental inspections using IP 95002 supplemental inspection for one delegated to cornerstone or any three white input strategic performance area. 201 Training Qualification of Personnel Review of the training knowledge performed of the radiation protection technicians, radioactive workers, supervisors in the transportation area. Determining whether the licensed employee training program, continuing retaining programs of the radiation protection technicians, rad waste workers, and supervisors adequately address the Transportation Regulation Title 49 CFR 172 Subpart H requires that each hazmat employer provide initial periodic training to its hazmat employees, review the training modules, qualifications of the instructor, the exams taken, the grades, receive focus on the following topics: the LSA, the SCO hazards definition requirements, flat carding, labeling, marking of vehicles and packages, fishmail, fishal transfer, index of the critical control of the package array with advancing package limits with the special control of the X-ray with the range of the tripper for fishmail material with the package have been assigned with the critically transport index greater than 10. Title 49 CFR 173 457 determine the role of the training provided with a regular contract with the radio protection technicians, radio rad waste workers, supervisor occupational exposed workers, coverage of the responsibility respect of the processing area, packaging the LSA material, SEO transportation, preparation for review, shifting paper to labels with the other functions with the SI units are required. The special controls over the shipment of the official material of the Act will determine the observation possible with the radioactive protection technicians or other radioactive waste workers performed of the duty safety with according to license training procedures. Transportation LA SA materials and SEO review license procedure with the procedure the LSA material SEO review procedure with the determining the degree of the uniformity LSA material review procedure with the leaching test requirements the LSA 3 material Title 49 CFR 173 468 Title 10 CFR 7177 specify the leach test required with the demonstrated the LSA 3 material is relatively insoluble as required by its definition. Determine whether the management or the supervisor oversight of the effective of the respect of the training procedure with the generation maintenance, implementation, follow-up, the correction of the deficiency of the event of the reports, and endangering effective communication between them and the worker group, supervised with the management level of concern with the processing, packaging, LSA material, and SEO. Review of the license plan used for the packaging, reshipment of LSA material with the SEO, with the review of the license, written justification for the plan used for the industrial package, strong type package, type A package, or type B packages based on the characteristics of the waste mix. Limitation must be applied with the packages prepared with the transport. Review several shifting material papers associated with the shipments of the LSA material with the SEO with the already complete with determine if the license procedures comply with the applicable regulation, if the shipping records indicate the shipment was made with accordance with the license procedure, if possible, the observe the shipment of the LSA material at the beginning prepared with the shipment loaded with the shipping container with the radioactive and the components of material with the responsible for the describe with the essential with the uniform distributed as distributed throughout, depending on the requirements imposed. If the possible, observe the fully located with the LSA material package being checked over the verify with the calculation that show the compliance with the regulatory limit with the unshielded external of the radiation level of 10 MSV over H or 1 REM over hours at 3 meters fixed value of the written procedure with the basis of the verify with the computer with the code of the utilized system with the current with the NRC with the dot regulation to review the backup procedure for use in case the computer codes are unavailable to appear with the during an correct results, if possible, observe the sampling with the analysis, the lease of the open waste stream with which may be shipped, LSA material spent to water and resin, filed with examined and shipped papers of that for that similar shipment of the C with the requirement of Title 49 CFR 173 or is satisfied as to the radionuclides must be entered with the shipping paper, the label C shipping container with the use of the license type A with the type B review with the current certificate compliance, verify the applicable certificate of compliance requirements properly with the incorporated into to the license implementation procedure for handling, loading, and unloading. Radionuclide list using scaling factors ensure that the package not exceed, but they are liable to radioactivity audited selected A and as A1, A, and 2 values verified with the correct values. The license procedure suggested radionuclides include CS-137, cobalt 60s, zinc 65, RBS 86, or transuranics. Review license proceed with the justification nuclei with a scaling factor for the sampling plan is verified with the water stream type with adequately characterized, verified with the information with incorporated into the implementation, 95% on the list. 95% rule of listing radionuclide shipping papers 173-433 classification official material of the review license proceed with the review for the transport with index control of the prevention critically in transportation physical material with ensure that they are consistent visual material with the requirements, ensure that all of the certificate and compliant requirements have been properly included. The end of the license implementation procedure with each of the casks using the ship visual material with a review of the possible several tests of shipping papers associated with the shipment of visual material with already completed focus of the identification of visual material at the end of the transport index special controls assigned for its current during transportation, discuss any changes since the last inspection. 2. With the computer code for the calculator with the assigned transport index critical code during transportation. Alright, 8673003 inspection guidance, general guidance with the certain focus, proceed with the ensure with the license of the programmatic control of the implement requirement of Title 49 CFR Parts 100 through 179, Title 10 CFR 171. Training and qualification personnel of the contract vendors employed specifically covered from the license of the radiation protection and NRC with the general later 9509 monitoring training with the ships that really care with the radioactive material will provide additional with the guidance general Eric letter states the license can accept the as adequate training received by carriers under the requirement input with the relative to the shipments of the radioactive material of the carrier certification over the training which should suffice. Transportation LSA material of the SEO of the ship with contained objects of the SEO of the definition of the object of not themselves of the radioactive have of the radioactive material distributed on their surface with the implication definition of the objects that are of the radioactive material of the activated objects or of the also contained cannot be classified as solid contaminated objects such as the objects however the regulated the LSA with the material insofar as the requirements expressed over the LSA, the definition complied with. For object qualification, LSA material that is necessary with a certain license compliance over the applicable limited estimated average specific activity assessing average specific activity of all radioactive material attributed to the object roles of the distribution activity of the surface contributions. Contaminations needed to be included as appropriate educational requirements applicable to the LSA material needed to be satisfied in order to objectives qualify with the LSA material. Example, the inaccessible surface of our inner surface of pipes for the ends of the which can be securely closed in simple methods. Inner surface maintained with the equipment of the nuclear facility glove box with the access of the ports of blocked off with the disposal of the surface contaminated objects. Contamination limits for the C with the type A with the type B package would need with depending on the type A2 with the fraction over the package. Absorbent material with wood generally be treated with the LSA with not the surface contaminated object. When mixing surface contaminated object with the LSA material, single package with both of the material with the medium respect with the qualifications before being mixed together, the container could be considered to be LSA with the pre-shipment processing material with the matrix with the category material with, for example, the contaminated with the pressure with the two with the collective with the compact with the reduced the international void space with the material with which with the surface contaminated object uncompact with could be characterized with the LSA after the compaction. Consideration of the more obvious example of the pre-shipment process of some of the judgment of the part of the license inspector will be necessary with the area with no specific guidelines. Several area authorized packages exist and ship the LSO SEO material of Title 49 CFR 173-427 and requirement of Title 49 CFR 173-427 and A1 for the entry of the GAT dose rate limited status with the non-accident resistant package of the according with the Title 173-427 and the LSA serve the contaminated object C with the package limited 173-427 and the entry with the date with the limited must be with the package of the according with the Title 10 CFR Part 71 and accident resistant type B package of the note that Title 10 CFR 7152 contaminated exemption LSA surface contaminated object material of the transport with exclusive of the of the exemption which is Title 10 CFR 7551 requirement of the type B package is accident resistant expired at April 1st, 1999. These non-accident resistant packages may no longer be used for the transport LSO surface contaminated object material with which cannot satisfy unshielded dose rate criteria. Nuclear Regulatory Commission certified for the package LSA material listed with the directive of the certificate with the compliant with the radioactive material of the package Neurogem with the GL383 with the authorized content with the specified of the certificate based on the LSA with the definition of all rules NRC with the revised certificate of these packages. One show the expiration date April 1st, 1999. Limits of the activities allowed with the correspond with the old rules. Licenses must have a copy of the revised certificate before the National Nuclear Regulatory Commission certified with the package LSA material with a contaminated object must ship with a compliant with a revised certificate. Non-accident resistant package of identified with the L49 173 427 included with the industrial package 173 410 or 11 for the domestic use only with the type A package, including the sub package spec 7 and 8 packages 173 410 412 and 415. Strong type packages 173 410 and 24. The nuclear regulatory package is regulatory commission on the approve of the LSA packages 173 427 E 7152 with the approved above paragraph note with the exemption true with the labeling marking LSA packages 173 427 A 6 and 6 apply with the package as designated strong type with the containment exclusive with the domestic shipment with the quantity with the per package is less than 1A with the default with the packaging LSA 1 serve with contaminated object 1 for shipment and perform pursuant with the 173 427C. Communication requirements include with the 173 203 with the D10 with the requirement with the exclusive use of shipment to be added with the shipping paper appropriate note with the group notation LS1, LS2, LSA1, LSA2 with the LSA3 serve the contaminated object 1 and 2 must appear with the shipping paper with the not with the proper shipping name 172 101. The definition of the LSA with a distinction made between the terms of the essentially uniformly distributed with the distributed throughout with the term essentially uniformly distributed and some of the more strictly distributed to the both the terms and some of the disallowed LSA with the certification material with a highly radioactive with such as leaking seal with course one location a large quantity with a non-radioactive material with the rounding its and with air reducing average concentration with a wear and specified limited in such case with the packaging with the destroy with the during transfer highly active with the portion were separated with the non-radioactive portion and the could cover with the essential radiation exposure with either the direct radiation through the pathway and inhalation of the IAEA models, justifying special rule that apply with the LSA shipments assuming the uniform distribution of any of the LSA materials received in the package. Distribution of the radioactive material LSA material with the important factor of the meeting LSA the definition license must be able to demonstrate the radioactive component LSA material is essential with the uniform distributed reasonable extent of the is distributed through the LSA material depending on the requirement imposed quantitative standards that has not been developed. The NRC with the currently considering kinds of development. There is some of the adversary material with the IAEA Safety Series number 37 that is amended in 1990 for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission when the Department of Transportation have not determined general applicability of the advised material. Alright, the appropriate of the packaging requirement to get national nuclear regulatory certification are not with the determinative with the 1 REM and that hour dose rate of 3 minutes for the unshielded with the content of the inspectorship of the review license for the make for the determination license generally based for the determination measure of the dose rate from the package service with the private with the knowledge package content of the routine sample with the process of the weight true with the specific sample with the content true with the object with the component of the back calculation can be then performed effectively to remove all of the packaging including liners from content with the license with the developers purchase systematic pursuit of the programs with the relay with the relative of the measure with the dose rate frequently with the package type with the waste stream and the information with the unshield with the dose rate with the meters with the technical base with the pursuit with the review with the independent verification of the measure with the unshield with the dose rate with the inspector but not practical qualitative of the bond evaluations maybe not practical qualitative of the bonding evaluations may be necessary ever the quick point reference of the cylinder volume of the 130 cubic feet 1 REM hour at 3 meters could be an order of 5A quantity with the gamma emitters of cobalt 60. Inspector should also review the license with the proceed with the relative of the ALARA program. G, no specific guideline. H, no specific guideline. Radionuclide list change with the radionuclide limited to A, no specific guideline. B, no specific guideline. 0304 classification fiscal material with the transport index fiscal material package with the maximum 1 radiation level near civil 10 of the 1 REM an hour 1 meter with any surface of the 2 number 50 over an N rounded up with the nearest 10 with an N in number 2 above is the calculated number during the certificate such as the 5N water reflected undamaged factor with the supercritical with nothing but between them 2 N damages of the subject with the hypothetical with the accident condition of the would be subcritical with the from an interspersed hydrogenous moderation reflection, no beast, no specification, specific guidance, even no specific guidance, 8673004, resource estimate, is anticipated 25-35 inspector hours on site will be needed to complete with the requirements of the spreadsheet with the multi-unit sharing of a single transportation service required with the same amount of time of the reference of the regulation, safety transportation radioactive 1988-5 with the safety series 6 International Atomic Energy Agency, Vienna, Australia, explanatory material with the IAEA regulation, safety transport radioactive material 1985, International Atomic Agency, Vienna, Australia, radio protection guidance, federal agency, occupational resource recommendation approved of the President of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, Washington, and that was January 1987. The Hazard Material Transportation Regulation, Compatibility Regulation, International Atomic Energy Notice of the Final Rules, Title 60C of Federal Register 5029-2, United States with the Department of Transportation, published September 28, 1995, Compatibility International Atomic Energy Notice Final Rulemaking 60 Federal Register 5024-8, United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission, published on September 28, 1995, Advisory Material of the International Atomic Energy Agency for the Safety Transportation Radioactive Materials 1985 edition, Safety Series with number 37, International Atomic Energy Agency for the Vienna, Austria, with effective date of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission Transportation Amendments, published on September 28, 1995. U.S. Department of Transportation Regulation, Title 49, CFR Part 173A, with the voluntary complaint with the date of November 1st, 1995, with amendments of April 1st, 1996, general effect with the date of amendments, April 1st, 1997, amended use of the SI International System Units, April 1st, 1997, the final date authorized use of the specification 7A package designed in accordance with the statute 178-350, with within effect with June 30th, 1983, October 1st, 1997, amended to comply with the Title 49, CFR 172, Subpart 1, Radiation Protection Program, U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission Regulation, Title 10 CFR Part 71, August 31, 1987, the final date of the complete fabrication of the package designed with the approved of the Nuclear Regulatory without destination of the BU or BM, design and identification number of the package fabricated with the date of the content of the Nuclear Regulatory General License with Title 10 CFR 7112. April 1st, 1996, the General Effect of the Day of the Amendments. March 1st, 1998, the day of the mandatory compliance with the uniform level of the radioactive waste manifest for the penalty of the Section 1 with Title 10 CFR Part 20 unless the disposal facility implements rule prior to this date. April 1st, 1990, Title 10 CFR 7152, LSA exemption type B requirements expire with the after the day of the package LSA surface contaminated object ships with external radiation level of 3 meters from unshielded material exceed with a 10 MSV with the hours of 1 REM an hour exceed with the LSA exemption of 7110B2 that could be approved with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission only with the satisfied with the Type B package requirements. April 1st, 1990, final day with the complete fabrication of the package of the design with the Nuclear Regulatory with the designation of the -85 with the design with the identification number of the package fabricated with the date that cannot be used under the Nuclear Regulatory General License till send CFR 7112. Okay, and this was a reading of the Nuclear Regulatory Inspection Manual, Procedure 86730, and that was Transportation Radioactive Materials.